Mali's Ministry of Education has officially removed the French Revolution from the grade 9 curriculum, saying that it's actually time to center Malian and African history and not foreign colonial narratives. Now, I believe this is more than a curriculum change. It's a declaration of cultural sovereignty and beyond, right? This decision came in the form of an urgent directive signed by the Secretary General of the Ministry of National Education. Now, all regional education officers were instructed to immediately remove lessons on the 1789 French Revolution from the ninth grade syllabus. Now, the ministry said that this change is actually part of an effort to adapt the curriculum to the national context, which is ensuring what students learn actually reflects their own history and their culture and their lived realities rather than glorifying foreign revolutions and foreign heroes. Now, the memo also came with a warning, though, that any teacher or academy that fails to comply could face sanctions. Now, let's be clear, the French Revolution is widely considered one of the defining events of modern Western history. We all know that. I mean, it introduced new ideas about democracy, about human rights, and actually political change. But for the Malian students, I believe this isn't just their history. This isn't just their struggle. And for some, it represents the ideology of the same colonial power that once ruled over them. By centering its own narratives, I think that Mali is making a statement here that we will no longer define ourselves through the lens of France. If anything, we will define it ourselves. Now, this move right here comes amid a larger geopolitical shift in Mali. Earlier this year, the country officially withdrew from the International Organization of La Francophonie, citing the need to reclaim sovereignty from institutions it views as being too heavily influenced by France. Mali, along with Burkina Faso and Niger, has also withdrawn from ECOWAS and formed the alliance of the Sahel states, signaling a deep realignment of power in West Africa. And in that context, removing the French Revolution from the school curriculum, I believe, is more than symbolic. It's part of a systematic decolonization of education, of language, and of national identity. Decolonizing education is not about erasing history. It is about prioritizing our own. Because for far too long, African children have sat in classrooms learning about Napoleon while knowing little to actually nothing about the Mali Empire or about the revolutions and resistance movements that were led by our own ancestors. So when African children grow up knowing more about European revolutions than their own national heroes, that's not education. That's indoctrination. And here, Mali is saying enough is enough.
So it's almost like we've been conditioned so well through such a long process that now it is us who are enslaving ourselves mentally.
Because the job has already been.
The job has been done. It would be so easy, in one sense, for us to undo it. That's what I'm saying in this book. Because the way the system of European control works is that you have to accept a concept of reality which makes them superior. If you deny that, this thing will not work, and they will lose their control.
Now, Mali isn't the first African country to question Eurocentric curricula, and it likely won't be the last. In South Africa, for example, student movements like hashtag Rhodes Must Fall and hashtag Fees Must Fall actually ignited a national conversation about why colonial figures are glorified in textbooks and on campus walls. And just in Kenya and Senegal and Ghana, education ministry have also began to review and localize their curricula, emphasizing that indigenous knowledge and systems and African literature and resistant histories are also very much important. Now, Mali's actions may inspire other countries to take similar steps, actually sparking what some are calling a decolonial wave across African classrooms. Now, personally, I grew up in a country where the school system itself for generations taught us to glorify colonizer and to minimize the heroism of our very people. I mean, we learned more about European wars than our own resistant movements, and that's just facts. I mean, we studied European philosophy, but we're barely introduced to African intellectuals like Steve Biko and Muammar Gaddafi and, you know, your Kwame Nkrumah. And that, I believe, was by design. Because colonial powers understand that to control a people, you control their history and you shape how they see themselves. So when Mali says we are taking our history back and that's just it, I feel quite a lot of pride. I feel hope, and I also feel the sting of how long we've been waiting for this kind of a moment. But not everyone agrees with Mali's decision. Some critics, many of them outside Mali, argue that removing of the French Revolution from the curriculum may deprive students of a global perspective. But my thoughts are French students learning about African history? Are they? Why are they not deprived of global perspective? Now, they claim that revolutions like the 1789 laid the groundwork for modern human rights principles that also influence African constitutions. But here's the key point. Decolonization does not mean isolation. Mali isn't saying students will never learn about world history. It's saying they should not learn it as if it's their own, while their own history is being sidelined. And that's a difference between being informed about the world and actually being defined by it. Now, the Ministry of Education has not yet announced what will replace the French Revolution unit. Many expect a stronger emphasis on pre-colonial empires, independence movements, and contemporary African political thought. But teachers are being instructed to adapt lesson plans immediately while curriculum experts work on the new modules. Now, this decision, I believe, will likely actually deepen tensions between Mali and France, but it also signals to the world that Mali is reclaiming its story, its narrative, and its children's mind. Personally, I'm here for it. Because we all know that for generations, colonial powers wrote our stories for us. But across the continent, we are entering a new era, one where Africans are writing their own history, teaching their own truths, and actually centering their own people. Now, Mali's movement to remove the French Revolution from curriculum is not just about a history lesson, but it's about power and it's about identity and it's about the future. That being said, I'm Naledi Mfoloe reporting for ADNC in Johannesburg. Please, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are on the story. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is bye-bye for now.